Badges, backpacks, day one, and OGS. It is a day one recap and part of the OGS here with I Do Notes. This one is brought to you by Connectoria, your leader in everything to do with hosting. It's connectoria.com. Welcome everybody. As I Do Notes, we are live at IBM Connect 2014. I'm trying to do daily videos and it's just not happening. So this is kind of a summary of the day one and pre-day, plus the OGS from this morning. We'll talk about some other things in blog posts that you've already seen going up on the site, mainly about things like name changes and others. So everyone always asks each year, and we usually do a special episode, and that is, what's in the backpack? Well, this year, we'll take a look. There's nothing. This is the backpack. It's for those that want to know, it's got a little cell phone holder, it's got pockets, it's got zippers. It's actually not a bad backpack. It's got a bunch of stuff in it. It's got a few pockets for things. Really what they put in it, surprisingly, and it used to be very heavy for those that remember because of all the stuff that was in it, there was only this many things. So 4 or 5 pieces of paper and then this book, which is note paper. So this is actually just a very handy notebook with a hard cover on it. Good and useful later on. So let's talk about the badges. A little bit of confusion this year getting the badges. Might have just been me, but there was a lot of people around that had the problem. They've gone back to the death strap, as we like to call it. Non-adjustable Velcro and real thin, cut into your neck. You better wear a collar or else you could actually bleed yourself out. Kind of neck strap. Otherwise, they're just badge holders everyone would expect. But what they did bring back for everyone is the conference guide. So they actually consolidated a little bit. It doesn't have a lot of fluff, but it has all the sessions in order. That was really nice to see that they had all of this in there. So what else do we have? Day zero. Day zero was the soccer that was outside. Thanks to Bill Bolchelski for setting that up. This is a second or third year that they've done this. They play soccer on the beach. People usually fall over. We're geeks and we can't run that much, and we get out of wind really quick. Then there was the normal parties in the afternoon. Unfortunately, the ESPN zone has changed exactly what they offer. So now it's all tables. So there was no annual turtle party for those that remember all the years. It didn't happen there. Everyone was spread out. So let's get to the meat of the things. Day one is business partner day, as well as jump starts, as well as some show and tells, master classes, things like that. Very well attended, very well packed. Everyone seemed to enjoy them. There's no slides, meaning the presenters had slides, but the online system doesn't have slides, which was promised that there'd be the online system, which is going to be going away, which they say still to use, even though they're going to show up later on another site. There's no slides. So people are actually commenting and posting that they would like to see slides, and there are none. After that, it was a rainy day, but they still had the reception outside. It actually cleared up. So let's get to the OGS this morning. We did the live session, so we had IBM Connect Live was live again, which is also Lotusphere Live for those that have been around. We always have a ton of people watching. It opened with American Authors for the Band. They did very well, played 3 songs. They were out the door. Jay Bear was the host, moderator. This was a great change for the actual OGS. Before, you would have this magical announcer. We'd like to bring to the stage Greg Heyman. But it was a magic voice. You never saw the person, didn't know who it was or where they were. This year, we had an actual host, so he was the bridge between the interactions. I complimented him that on Twitter. He responded and said thanks. I think they needed that type of person to not be related to the product, but to actually bridge what was going on with it. Craig Heyman came out wearing bright yellow shoes. That was brought up a couple times. I believe Mitch Cohen has this picture up that was on Twitter. And then from there, we went into the speaker, the guest, as it were. Seth Meyers, Saturday Night Live, soon to be the host of The Tonight Show. Great speaker, did a great job. Touched barely on the technology. I think he didn't try to shoehorn in his speech around our technology. So he did a few jokes around it, did a bunch of great stories. Everyone enjoyed him, even from the internationals, from what I can understand, meaning he carried over well to the audience because it was now a blend of HR as well as tech people. So a big view looking backwards, as you can see, was a great view of everyone that was in attendance. The room doesn't seat more than 4,500 or so the way I have it set up, so that tells you that there was no overflow, so about 4,500 people were probably there in attendance. But it is CMOs, it is HR people because of Connexa, it is the geeks. The champions were sitting up front behind the VIP section, next to the Japan section, to the other side of this other. They were all kind of, people were sectioned off, and then there was the general populace, is the way it actually laid out. A lot of it was scripted. I've got a picture of me looking up at the actual teleprompter, which was above my head again, but it was good to see someone like Seth Meyers went without a teleprompter. Now, what did they actually deliver in the OGS? A great bunch of case studies that never showed the product. I understand there's confidential information in most of these, but people like Pepsi came up, but they never actually showed an interface, a product. They didn't say what they were using. They talked a lot about how it was empowering them and how it was working with them, but didn't show what they were using. I mean, could they have said, we run these products and had a list. We have Connections, and we have Portal, and we have Same Time, and we have Domino, and we don't use Domino. We use Exchange. It doesn't matter. They didn't show the capabilities behind the scenes, and a lot of people just needed that to understand. Even the ones that use Connexa didn't have that up there on the board. So we had a few of those case studies up there. I will say it was a very long commercial for Pepsi. The longest I've ever seen in my life was the opening to their segment. Then we walked into another case study. Excellent. Once again, the presenters did very well. We never got to see what was behind the scenes. Then we got to Greenwell. Greenwell replaced Restoration. So IBM used to have their fake construction company, which moved into now their fake banking company. They did a lot of demo. The mobile demo for the iPad was fantastic. It showed real, as you're going through, adding files, doing things. It made perfect sense. A lot of the other things in it were a little confusing because everybody up there was portraying to be an actor. They were saying, hi, I'm Bill from whatever, or just give us the actual, we know it's a fake company, you can't use someone's real data, give us the demo. So they did a few pieces with it, but I think there was a little bit too much acting that was going on and not enough of show us the actual demos and products that were in there. It took us a long time to get to demo time inside of the OGS itself. Once we left there, they blurred through a bunch of other announcements, including IBM Connections Mail. So the new, IBM Mail Next would be the name you know it as. You'll see some blog posts separate from me on that as well as other people. Please look at those. It'll go more in depth about that. Then we hit a major sneak, and you can see this picture right here. It was up on the screen and fading so fast that we really couldn't even get a good picture of it. IBM Same Time, which was Lotus Same Time, which before that had a different name than it was before that Same Time, is now totally gone in terms of name. So what they've done is they've made it the IBM Connections Chats and the IBM Connections Meetings. So they've taken the IBM Same Time name and blended it in. What does that mean to you? It's still Same Time. If you remember back in the 6.5 days, they changed it, I think it was 6.5.1 actually, to ILWICM. It was the IBM Lotus Instant Messaging and Web Conferencing. The next year they came back and they said, Same Time. They found out that people just used the term, I'll Same Time you. They weren't saying, I'll ILWICM you. So now will they say, I'll chat you? Don't know, but they're trying to bring all the brands together under one umbrella, which kind of makes sense. But when you have an established brand like Same Time that's been around for so long, right? We're talking 14 years. Is it right to just rip out the name and replace it and put it under this other bigger banner product name? I don't know. Could they have called it IBM Connections Same Time? Yeah, I think you maybe could have done that one. I know it's adding a name in front of it, but it also adds confusion to companies that need to do things like, look at the comment on my blog, documentation and updates and everything else, meaning they have to go back and retrain users to say it's actually the same thing, but now it has a new name because probably the logos and icons will get new names as well. To close out the OGS, I don't know how to address this, but does this look familiar to you? If it does, that would be the name of a product that they released. So Actians came on stage, and they'd like to introduce to you Alcatraz. That's just how the room sounded after he said the name. I believe they were waiting for applause. The name, to me personally, and as everyone knows, it's my show. I'm giving you my personal opinion. It's kind of a taboo name to name a product of somewhere that you lock people up. So I don't know why you'd want to name it after a large, hugely widely known and famous prison that was out there, because that basically means your data's inside of a prison. But then keep in mind, people have escaped from Alcatraz, and if you watch the one movie, The Rock, they actually break into Alcatraz, which means they break into your data. I don't know. Either way, the name Alcatraz, I could see them coming back next year and going, remember, we announced Project Alcatraz, and now it's IBM Connections Data Vault, or IBM Connections Vault, or whatever it is. I don't know about the naming, but he gleaned over it very quickly. Didn't get a lot of things, a couple chuckles, not a lot of applause, and a lot of people going, I don't know if I would have named it that. From there, they closed out pretty much the rest of the OGS with a bunch of other minor announcements, things about the products, enhancements. Once again, read the blogs. There's a lot more detailed postings that you need to read about some of the announcements they've done around things like the new Mail Next, the way it's going to interact. Keep in mind, they're talking about Connections interface, basically, into your mail. Right now, it is like a domino back end before any of you freak out and make comments on the post itself. So what I want you to do is keep up with everything under the I Do Notes portfolio. We will have blog posts. We will have more of the videos going on in the channel. We will have probably more on-the-spot things. Tons of photos on Instagram, tons of photos on Flickr. I'm trying to link everything together. I'll be on Twitter, of course. If you have questions, please send me a note. If there's something you want covered this week while I'm here, make it quick. You have about 3 days, and I have 2 sessions to present, one with Gab Davis and one with Mike Smith and Celia Hamilton. We'll be talking about social bizug, and the other one with Gab is the 3 S's, SAML, Spinango, and SSO, and we're going to touch on OAuth. So thanks everybody for watching, and we will be back with another video to recap the rest of day 1 and probably day 2.